You are now listening to the Q&E Podcast.
Is this what you want? Huh? Is this what you want? Well, come and get it, goddammit!
What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Q&E Podcast. You're here with your boy Q Hicks right now. And I got Edgar on the other line. Edgar, tell the people what's good.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Q&E Podcast. Today, we are reviewing Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5. Marvel Mondays is back again with another amazing episode from this show. We are almost at the season finale. Episode 5 of season 1 was called Truth, and we've seen a lot of truth come to fruition in this episode with each character. A lot of closure, a lot of doors closing, and a lot of doors opening as well. So I was very excited with this episode.
And I heard they called it Truth because one of the comics that was called Truth from back in the day was about like the Black Captain America and what went down in his situation and like the experimentation and things like that. And we got even more background on what happened with him and in his situation, man. I did like this episode, but something I'm just really not understanding is why is Sam taking over the Black Cap thing? I know we agreed last week that it's going to be Sam because they're building up nobody else. But we just was talking about like the autonomy of Sam and how he wanted to be his own person. But now he's still in the shadow. He's going to be in the shadow of Captain America. So I still don't like the transition that they're trying to do with his character, especially after what he just was told by Black Cap. Like no self-respecting Black man will ever be Captain America. Like, why would you hear those words and then be like, nah, I'm gonna prove you niggas wrong that there can be a Black Captain America? Why did you think that happened this episode?
I feel like he's gonna do it in his own way. I feel like there is a way to do it, like cause Sam said it later in the episode when we get to that scene, but he was telling his sister, he was like, look, I can't blame him for thinking the way he thinks or saying what he's saying, because if I went through everything he went through, I'd probably feel the same way. And when he said that, I thought, well, shit, a lot of our ancestors probably wonder why we do some of the stuff we do. If our ancestors could talk to us, they would probably ask us, why would any of y'all be trying to get to certain jobs y'all getting? Why would y'all be applying to these certain jobs and like trying to work with these people? Like they in their head, they probably thought there was never going to be a Black president. They probably thought there was never going to be a Black CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. They probably never thought we was going to do any of that stuff in this white America. But it's like the same thing with how we had to break barriers for that. It's going to have to be the same thing with the Captain America thing. You know, and Sam was right. Times are changing. It's changing very slowly, but there are little improvements there. But we can't say there's no change at all. No, we can't say that, because that would be disrespectful to the trailblazers who did change shit.
For sure. But I'm just coming from the perspective of, even in this show, they showed that Black people were still getting racially profiled. And I'm assuming in this America that there's still police shootings and things like that. So why would a Black man want to fight for a country or be the face of a country that's not even fighting for Black people? That's exactly the message I got when I seen him like get this path to Captain America. Like, why are you going to be the face of America, a country that really doesn't care about Black people in general? Why are you going to be the face of that? That's why I was like, I don't really like the path that they're taking Sam on right now, bro. I don't really know how I feel about it. Because, like you said, there's nobody else to build up, but it's just like I would have rather them pass it off to somebody else.
I feel like there's still an opportunity for them to paint over the shield. Because remember, I told you if I was to take on the Captain America thing, I would repaint the shield and I wouldn't even let it be the original stars and stripes and all that type of shit. I would make it my own type of shield to where it's like, yeah, I'm Captain America, but I'm obviously on a whole different thing than what Steve Rogers was on. And I feel like they don't have to go verbatim of the comic book. Like Sam doesn't have to actually carry around the stars and stripes. I feel like they could play with that a little bit and kind of change that and let. I think that's what they're going to do, though. Shield. Yeah, I feel like he can have his own type of shield.
I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to do the stars and stripes thing because as we see in this whole episode, we seen them messing with that box. Bucky ended up giving Sam the box. I think that's what's inside the box, like the red, white, and blue. Probably got the American flag type logo on it. So I'm like, he gonna be Captain America. He gonna have everything that that Steve Rogers used to have. So he's gonna be like in his memory and shit. I just didn't like it from that perspective. I've been saying that the whole season, but I just really wish they would pass it off and give it to somebody else. I don't like Sam being Black Cat.
But the biggest plot points from this episode that we seen were Sam finally takes the mantle, like we just said, going towards the end of the episode. Another thing that built up throughout the episode was Carly's movement makes its biggest move, and we literally see that at the end of the episode as well. And in the post-credit scene, John decides to go full villain, and we see that that is the third biggest plot point from this episode. We already said he was on the road to anti-cap, but this episode fully solidified that, yeah, he's a full villain at this point.
And I wonder from that post-credit scene, I wonder what he made that shield out of, because I'm assuming that he's going to go head up with Sam and Bucky once again. And if you don't have a vibranium, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't have a vibranium shield, like that shit ain't even gonna hold in comparison to what you had. Like, you had a good fight at the beginning of this shit because you had a vibranium shield. If you don't have vibranium by the end of this shit, when they have this big last fight, like they gonna break your shield, my nigga. Like that shit gonna be over with.
Hey,
so I'm like, I don't think what you gonna do with that.
He was making his ghetto ass shield. You see, he was putting his military bases on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this man doing, bro?
That shit gonna break. All Bucky got to do is punch that shit, and that shit broken.
It's gonna have a whole dent in it. I'm like, man.
Factual.
I'm like, John upset. Let me leave him alone. This man upset right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He doing all this out of anger. I can't judge him. But we started the episode off with John Walker fleeing from the scene of when he murdered the Flagsmasher, and he's still upset about Lamar, and he hears Lamar still echoing in his head about the last conversations they had all the way leading up to his death. And you can see he's really rattled by the shit, but he shakes all that emotion off, and he gets back in composure, and he's like, all right, let's do this shit. And I'm like, you just had a traumatic experience. You just lost your best friend and you killed somebody for the world to see. And now you're like, all right, let's go back to work. And I'm like, bro, can't be Captain America. You can't be Captain America, bro. I'm like, what the hell?
I think that was a military mindset, though, man. It's just like, man, it's so easy to move on to the next one after you see some traumatic shit like that. He's been in wars where he's seen a number of people lost in the war. So he's like, he's used to it, even though that was his best friend. So it's an even closer connection. It's like, damn, I still got to move on, and I still have to, stand for what I believe in. And he believes that he's Captain America. So.
Yeah, I agree because, you hear a lot of war stories on like, hey, you got to keep going. You got to keep fighting. You can't sob over every single person. If you sobbing over every person that died, like you ain't gonna last long in what you're doing.
Yeah, you finna die next. Yeah.
Got to be somewhat cold-hearted in this shit. Somewhat. But then we see Sam and Bucky pull up on him, and they tell him that he has to give up the shield. But they're telling him in a way where it's like, look, we understand, like, why you're upset. We understand what's going on, but you still need to give us the shield at the end of the day. And he wasn't trying to hear that shit. And they end up in a fight scene and they jumping them, but John low-key beating their ass.
He was holding his own, bro. The past couple of episodes, I have gained major respect for John Walker. This nigga has been holding his own. I know he has the super soldier serum, but still 2-on-1. He was still holding his own like that. Damn, even Iron Man wasn't kicking ass like that against Bucky and Sam. I had to give it up for damn John Walker, bro. He was looking good. He was looking nice. I was surprised.
That's why I told you, because you was like, yeah, he got the serum, but he still don't know how to fight. I'm like, bro, this man was the only person that passed the MIT physical test.
True.
I'm like, literally, they chose him for a reason. The man can fight at least half decent. So just mix that with the super soldier serum. He in there for sure.
That nigga was OD. Sure. That nigga was that was probably one of my favorite scenes. Was this my favorite scene of the show? The fight scene? It probably was my favorite scene.
It was my favorite John Walker scene. I'll give them that. It was my favorite John scene.
I'm trying to recall scenes of this show. That probably was my favorite scene of the show. I love the fight scene, bro. I love everything that was going on. And look, John Walker could have killed Bucky and Sam. Like, he had an opportunity to bang that shield on both of them at one point, but like they ended up saving each other. Like, John Walker was there about to kill them niggas too. That nigga was close to getting both of their ass. I love that. I love this scene. I loved it.
And a major thing that I noticed when he ripped Sam's wings off. That like I've never seen no shit like that before in any of the Marvel movies. Like I noticed like nobody has ever messed with Sam's wings, and the fact that with his bare hands he just ripped them bitches off, and he said, "I am Captain America" when he did that shit. I'm like, bro, John gone, bro. There's no talking to this man.
Oh yeah, he's definitely so far gone, bro. But I like what I'm seeing from John, my nigga. I think he will last until after this. We will see John in like the regular MCU, especially with the scene you're gonna talk about with old girl with like the indigo streak in her hair. We're gonna see John after this show. And like I said, I didn't like John at first, but he's starting to rub off on a nigga. I'm starting to fuck with John Walker.
But they end up beating John, and they get the shield, and
they broke his arm too.
Yeah, they broke his arm. But it kind of like it didn't heal immediately, but it kind of like he was still able to lift it and shit to a certain extent. And I'm like, damn, that super soldier serum is kind of like, you know how Wolverine got that super healing shit? It's low-key like a lower version of that. Like he wasn't able to be punching people and stuff with it again, and he had to have it in a sling. But it's like it was in way better condition than an average person, because an average person would have been all limp and shit. Like his was still in like mildly good condition. I'm like, damn, like he's able to fight through like a broken arm. Like that's crazy. So that was crazy as shit. But we get to the next scene where the GRC is raiding Flagsmasher camps and arresting all accomplices. If they can't find Flagsmashers, they're finding the supporters of them, and they're just locking everybody up and hurting people like cattle at this point to send a message to the Flagsmashers that, look, we are going to stop you by any means necessary. And Torres lets Sam and Bucky know that they can no longer be involved in what's going on. They basically have been benched by the government, and Sam leaves his wings. So I was real interested to see that, because before, obviously, we got to the end of the episode, I'm like, well, shit, he can't just have the shield, because in the comments, like, he has his suit and the shield. So how is that going to work? So what was your thoughts in that moment?
I think Torres is going to be the next Falcon. That's what they're probably going to build up, because in the comics, Torres ended up running into the power broker and ended up becoming like the next Falcon that way. But in this version of the MCU, he's going to just use those, probably repair it and make his own type of suit and his own type of tech and become the next Falcon, while Sam becomes the Captain America figure. So that's what they're building up right now. And that's what I was like, oh, okay, he's leaving the wings. So you know my boy going to play with it a little bit, shit like that.
Yeah.
But one thing about the Flagsmashers, I know we're going to talk about it later, but how the hell did them niggas get to New York? Because they were in, where were they last episode? They were in
not
Germany?
Sokovia, but yeah, they were like in the German area, I think.
Yeah, I think they were in Germany last episode. Like, they are full-blown terrorists. Like, everybody knows Carly Morgenthau's face. How the hell did they get across the border to the U.S.?
But bro, you see, she has people everywhere, and Torres said that when Sam left his wings, he was like,
"That's a good point. That's a good point.
We can't stop her now. Like, she has people on all platforms, and we seen that at the end of the episode. Cause I was wondering how the hell they got inside the GRC shit. They have people everywhere, bro, in hidden places. They got middle class people, high class people. They definitely got majority of the lower class people thinking on the same level as them. So I'm like, bro, and that's why I said last episode we had, Carly is reaching everybody with her message. And that's why she's so dangerous, because she's literally changing millions of minds. So I'm like, hey, I wasn't surprised to see that they got overseas. Cause first off, criminals get overseas any type of way. They can get through on cargo ships. They got criminals that can transport them and shit. So I wasn't even surprised by that shit.
Nah, when I seen her and then I seen her with Baytruck, I was like, how the fuck she got to New York? But she did have a plane. I'm forgetting. She did have a plane. And now one episode that they flew, that's when the power broker was chasing them at first. And she had flew away. I forgot about that. They did have a plane. So that's probably how she got there as well. So I did forget about that plane. So that makes sense now. That makes sense. But man, we still have not seen the power broker yet. I'm still upset about that shit. I know we said that last episode that they're probably gonna wait for some big reveal in episode 6, but I'm just like, man, like we got the preview. I thought they were at least gonna show like the group. Like in the episode 1, they showed us like the group was chasing Carly. I thought we were gonna see more scenes like that, at least, and them like eventually catch up to her. But we haven't even seen like his group. So I'm like, damn, we like y'all keep saying Power Broker, but we ain't even haven't seen this group either. That shit kind of crazy.
I'm like, that's why I said, stop saying his name if y'all not finna show him yet. Please. All
they didn't say his name as much. Felt like this episode. It felt like it was more focused on like Sam and shit. They didn't say his name definitely. As much.
I feel like they listen to me when I say that. I before we move on though, I do agree that Joaquin will definitely be the next Falcon. Like you said, that's what happened in the comic books. They took like I think the Power Broker took like the DNA from Red Wing and infused it with his, so we kind of got the actual powers of a Falcon. But with this one, it's gonna be like he's just gonna like make his own suit type thing instead of like going verbatim from the comics. So I totally agree with that. And then the next scene, John Walker faces the council. He's back in America now, and they let him know he is stripped of his
They haven't even built up his character though. Like we don't even know Torres like that, but he about to be the Falcon. Like I just thought about that. Like he's gonna obviously that's gonna work, I guess, because he got the wings. But y'all just gonna make him a character when we don't know him? Like y'all could have built up his character way more in this season, but we don't get any of it.
But you gotta understand though, like the way Marvel does things, like they incorporate each movie kind of in every movie and show that they do. So you might see him again in another show. You might see him again in another movie, and it may only be for like a scene or two, or like maybe like half of a movie or something. And it might be little bits and pieces that you got to pay attention to when you watching the next season of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or you're watching the next Marvel movie where they do reveal him as a superhero or whatever. So they're giving you bits and pieces now to connect to the future ones that they're gonna have.
They need to give us more backstory, because I feel like we've only seen him a couple of times, like in flashes. Like we seen him at the beginning when Sam was fighting Batroc. He was riding in the truck on the ground or whatever, but we don't even know him. I just know his name. Like what else does he do? Like is he even like smart enough to even make wings? Like we don't even know. Is he a mad scientist? Like we don't even know. Like does he even have smarts like that? So like they should have gave us some background or showed us of him working on some type of tech to show us that, oh, he knows how to do scientific shit and knows how to work on tech. They could have showed us some shit like that. And then it would have been an easier transition than to be like, oh, he made his own suit. I feel like that would have been an easier transition. But yeah.
Well, we still got episode 6, so they could do exactly what you just said. Because I do agree, they should show a little piece of that, just to give the fans an idea of what could happen. So hopefully in episode 6, they kind of go in depth with him a little bit. But John Walker faces the council, and he is stripped of his Captain America privilege. He is stripped of his military benefits and military rankings. They're basically turning him into a homeless military vet at this point.
Yeah, because what was the discharge? It was the other than honorable discharge. So it's not dishonorable, but it's a little over. Yeah, so it's a little bit over. So you're getting a lot of shit taken away at that point, bro. That's tough.
But they did tell him, hey, we're kind of taking it easy on you at the same time. Like we're letting you just walk away. So be glad that we're at least letting you do this, because we could lock you up in the barracks for like 50 plus years. Like you could be way worse than what you are right now. So the best situation is to have everything stripped from you and just let you walk away. I'm like, damn, bro. But I kind of felt bad for John a little bit in this scene because I don't know. Like he said, you all built me. I did everything you asked. I did everything you told me throughout my entire military career and Captain America career for that short time I did it. I did everything y'all way. And then when shit hit the fan while I'm doing this y'all way, y'all just throwing me to the side like I don't exist no more. And I'm like, hey, exactly. You're kind of getting some Isaiah Bradley treatment right now. So I didn't feel too bad, but I felt a little bad because it's like John really, he ain't do none of this shit on purpose. It just, everything just happened.
And it's not like they gave him instructions on how to go about being Captain America. It's not like y'all told him, oh, you can't kill people in the line of war or in the line of the mission. Like, y'all didn't get this nigga any instructions. Y'all just told him, be Captain America, gave him the shield, and just told him to go out there. Y'all didn't get this nigga any instructions. So when he does something in the line of a mission and it goes against what y'all think is right, oh, man, this nigga getting 50 years. Now you out of the military type shit. It's like, yeah, I agree with what John was saying with that shit. I didn't feel bad for him, but I definitely understood what he was saying.
Definitely. And they asked for the shield back, which I thought was interesting because I'll transition that into this. But I was saying how we noticed that Valentina Allegra walks up to him after he's done talking with the council, and she sits with him and his wife and lets him know that the serum has made him very valuable to certain people. And I feel like that was kind of a hint to the power broker and maybe some other villains that we might see moving forward. And with the shield, she also told him, even though the government said you need to give the shield back to us, even though he doesn't have the shield and she knows that, she said, you should know that the shield isn't government property. That's kind of like a legal gray area that they kind of leave out. And I was like, that led to him making the shield in the post-credit scene, now that I really think about it, because it's like, oh, so he's making his own shield, not just to, like, you know, have for himself in a revenge way, but in a way to still say, it's like anybody could be Captain America type thing. It's like the government doesn't have to tell you to be Captain America. If you want to be Captain America, you can be. And I thought of The Dark Knight when that happened, because remember in the beginning of the movie, in The Dark Knight, like there were other people trying to be Batman because, you know, that was the point of Batman. Like even Bruce said it, Batman could be anybody. Like that was the whole thing. So that's what John is kind of under the impression of now. It's like, oh, I don't have to wait for the government to pick a new one. I can still go out here and do this shit. Bet. Because that's literally what Steve did. Steve wasn't Captain America for the government. He was just Captain America. So.
Yeah. And in the comics, that Valentina chick, she was working with like Hydra. So she was like working in like, she was kind of working against Hydra, but she used to work with Hydra like in her past time. And she worked for Thaddeus Ross. And Thaddeus Ross was somebody we seen in Civil War. That was somebody who started the what was the rule book that said you had
Sokovian Accords.
The Sokovian Accords. He was the one who laid that law down. So they said that she could be working for him and starting like the Thunderbolts type shit. That's the Thunderbolt group. And they said the Thunderbolts could be led by Zemo. Zemo could be somebody in the comics that led the Thunderbolts. So we could see Zemo in the Thunderbolts, and we could see John Walker a part of the Thunderbolts as well. And that's why she gave him a card with nothing on it, because she's really not a part of anything. So it's just like, yeah, she working for Thaddeus Ross, I feel like.
That's good. I ain't even think about that. Only thing with Zemo is we see like towards the later half of the episode, we seen what happened to him when the Dora Milaje took him. So I'm interested to see how that will work, because at that point they would literally have to take him out of Wakanda, and can't anybody just get in Wakanda. So that's the only thing I'm curious on, how that will work with Zemo joining. But I definitely agree with the Thaddeus Ross theory. I feel like that could actually happen for real. So I ain't thinking about that.
And Thaddeus Ross is a powerful person, man. He probably don't got any pull in Wakanda, but that nigga can pull some strings, get somebody to get Zemo out for him. Because in the comics, Zemo was like the leader of the Thunderbolts, so he could definitely be broken out once again.
True. I can see it. And then we get to the next scene where Carly and the Flagsmashers see what the GRC raids have done to their people, and she's pissed, and she says it's time for the movement to truly begin. And I'm like, thank you. We're finally, like you said, we're finally gonna see what the hell they're trying to do. We get the emotions behind it, we get the motivation, we kind of get a little knowledge of what they're doing, but now we finally get to see what the hell they're finna do. So I'm glad that now they're actually going into action with the shit.
Yeah, me too. Because I think their plan before was to give kids like the super soldier serum, which I still fully didn't understand like the reasoning for that. So she's trying to work with Batroc. And what was the purpose behind working with Batroc? I didn't know.
They kind of left that shady. They left that.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I missed something when I was watching. I was like, I didn't understand like the connection between the two. But I think the connection between the two is my girl, Sharon Carter. I think Sharon Carter was speaking to Batroc earlier in the episode.
Oh yeah, she
was talking to him. So I think she wants him to work with the Flagsmashers to, I guess, steal something or cause just a whole bunch of chaos in the U.S. That's possibly what she could be doing, and that's why she got told Batroc to end up working with the Flagsmashers. I don't know, but I know Sharon Carter is definitely involved with that. It could be a whole master plan from the power broker.
Because Batroc's whole thing is he just wants to kill Sam. So other than that, he has no reason or no purpose in helping the Flagsmashers. So that's why I felt like it's still kind of a shady thing. It's like, okay, once Sam dies, like,
He ain't gonna work with y'all no more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I feel like it was shady. It was unnecessary.
Yeah, and that shit never works, bro. When people have two different agendas, that shit never works. So this shit is gonna blow up right in their face because he gonna be so focused on getting Sam, and they gonna be worried about whatever the hell they worried about. So it's gonna be two different agendas. So even though he giving you all these explosives and all these bombs and all that shit, like this shit gonna end up blowing up in their faces, and that's what I'm assuming that's gonna happen at the end of episode 6.
Yep, I feel like you predicted it perfectly. I definitely see that happening. I don't feel like it's gonna end on such a great note though with episode 6, but I do see that happening. I do see shit blowing up in the Flagsmashers' faces, but I'm not gonna sit here and say Sam is just gonna ride off into the sunset at the end of this season. I feel like some shit gonna happen for real.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
I don't know yet. I'm definitely not predicting a great ending for this. I feel like some shit's gonna happen to where Sam is pissed off, or somebody might get hurt, or
Sam's sister getting killed.
Nah, nothing like that.
Oh,
I don't know. I just want to say expect the unexpected. That's all I'll say. I highly doubt this episode is gonna end the way we want it to. I'm still traumatized from WandaVision with such underwhelming ending. So
yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you.
So I feel like that might transfer over to this. So let's just hope that.
Oh man, I'm glad you brought that shit up, bro. I brought back bad memories with that.
We get to the next scene though, and Zemo is home in Sokovia, and he's at the Sokovia Memorial, and Bucky finds him, and Zemo is actually glad that Bucky actually came because, like he said earlier in the show, none of the other Avengers bothered to come to the memorial or anything like that. So he was actually happy to see Bucky show up. And at first, Bucky is like putting the gun in his face, like Bucky is there to kill him. But instead, he drops the bullets, and him and Zemo actually talk for a while. And Zemo is telling Bucky one more time that, look, the only way you can stop Carly is to kill her at this point, because everything she's doing with this movement is too big. You can't just lock her up, like, because the movement is still gonna go. This is a situation where you have to kill the head. You have to kill the head of this animal, otherwise it's just gonna keep going. And I love the fact that they actually had some closure with each other, and they kind of understood where each other came from. Because I said earlier, I think like an episode or two ago, I didn't feel like Zemo was going to be like just helpful anymore to them, but he wasn't going to be in the way either. He wasn't going to be like just a villain anymore. So I'm glad they gave those two closure.
Oh, he remembered his therapy session. He remember rule number 2 when it came to not hurting anybody and shit like that. I think that's why he ended up dropping the bullets and not killing Zemo, because the past Bucky probably would have killed Zemo and just moved on from that situation. But he just let bygones be bygones, let this nigga get taken away by the Dora Milaje and do what he's supposed to be doing, man. So I like the growth from Bucky, but I think what Zemo said will reign true. I think they are going to have to kill that girl to just cut this shit short. Because like you said, the shit is too big to not do it. And Zemo is right. Zemo might have like crazy ass ways to go about things, but most of the time he is correct in his philosophies, and I think he's correct with this one.
And I think Bucky actually sympathizes with Zemo a little bit just due to the facial expressions of how they were talking and the tone of which they were talking to each other. And I feel he kind of feels sympathy for him, because it's like at the end of the day, Zemo was only doing what he was doing as a villain because he felt like he was done wrong and just pushed to the side by the Avengers and the government and all that stuff when they destroyed Sokovia. Like the meme always says, Avengers, we saved the day. And then the city that they saved, is just ran through and just left in like ruins, basically, with people's lives just completely changed. So I think Bucky finally understood where Zemo's head was, and that's why they were able to just calmly just walk away from each other. And you see that he calls him James once they're done talking. Like, he doesn't call him Bucky, he doesn't call him the Winter Soldier. He was like, goodbye, James. And it's like, okay, we finally had some closure on this shit. And then we see the Dora Milaje come, and take Zemo. And I forgot where they said they were gonna lock him up for the rest of his days. They said somewhere.
Somewhere
the
Raft prison. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, at least they ain't gonna kill him. I thought they was really gonna do. Some
I don't even think
shit.
Raft is in Wakanda. Raft isn't in Wakanda.
It isn't.
That's not in Wakanda. Yeah, it's not. It's like it was something that was like somebody was in Raft, bro. I'm blanking on it because I've seen a video and they showed Raft prison, and it was something that was coming from under the water.
Oh, that was in Captain America: Civil War at the end of the movie.
Okay, and who was there?
That was when the half that didn't sign the Accords, they were all locked up. The Avengers that didn't sign the Accords. That's where he's at. That's where he's going to be at. I didn't know that was
he's not going to be in Wakanda. Yes, so he's not going to be in Wakanda.
Okay. That makes sense. I can see him being there too.
Mm-hmm.
And before they leave, Bucky asks Ayo for a favor. And when he asks for that favor, I'm like, is he going to ask? I don't know why I thought this. I was dumb as hell thinking this because we know this isn't going to happen. Is he getting Sam a Black Panther suit?
Oh, hell. Hell no.
Hey, the Florida Panther? I don't know. I don't know why my dumb ass thought he was getting a Black Panther suit.
I knew it had something to do with vibranium, though. I knew it was gonna have something to do with vibranium, and I just assumed like, okay, it's gonna be like the costume. And I kept saying a lot of people like saying like, what's in the box? It's like y'all know what's in the box, bro. I don't know why everybody keep tweeting it out like it's a whole ass mystery. Like what's in the box?
I was just asking because I'm like, I know it's in the box, but I'm asking just from excitement. Like, what's in the box? Like, and I thought Sam was gonna like. Speaking of the box, when we get to that scene, I thought Sam was gonna open that shit as soon as Bucky brought it. We had to wait a whole another 30
I know
minutes.
that shit was lame as fuck.
I was like, come on, dog. I could have opened that shit right there. Nah, they was in public though. Don't need all the fans looking at this new merch.
Yeah.
But then we go to the next scene where Sam visits Isaiah Bradley again. And this time they actually sit down and have a real conversation. And he's asking for explanation on why he wasn't embraced as Captain America. And at first, Isaiah was kind of reluctant to tell him. He was like, you Black, you should understand why they didn't embrace me with that title. And he was like, no, like, seriously, I understand racism. I was born in the South. I know what you faced on that end. But from a deeper perspective, tell me why you weren't embraced. And that's when Isaiah Bradley goes into depth on what they did to him, when they locked him up, when they experimented on him, and all of that type of stuff. And the two biggest quotes in everything he was telling them was that white people have always been chasing the next great white hope. And that's not just with regular people. That ended up being true with superheroes as well. And they will never let a Black man be Captain America. Those were the two biggest quotes I pulled from him. And that was just, it was breathtaking because it's like, I didn't expect Marvel to go this deep with the racism thing. And I'm really proud that they did that.
Yeah, I liked it, man. I just didn't like I said before, I just didn't like him. After hearing what dude just said, man, you're going to end up being the face of Captain America. That was the only thing I didn't like. But I liked him going into the backstory of like the full story of how he came about, how they gave all of these Black people this super soldier serum. And it was like different versions of the super soldier serum. So he was the only person that was surviving and shit like that. Everybody else was dying off. They was doing missions and his people was getting killed and he was trying to bring them back to base, and they ended up like throwing away like the evidence. He basically said, he was like, they were calling like my partner's evidence. Like they had to throw it all away. And then they ended up experimenting on me because I was the only one who survived the mission and survived the super soldier serum. It was a sad scene, bro, but I definitely fucked with it.
Yeah, it was honestly I'll say that was one of my favorite scenes of the whole show. The training montage scene would probably be my number one favorite scene. And yeah, the scene with Isaiah Bradley, that would be my second favorite scene of this whole show.
And I wonder how they're going to wrap his grandson into this, because we seen him and Sam had a little exchange before he actually walked in the house to talk to Isaiah Bradley. I wonder how they're going to tie Elijah into like the young Avenger. Like, how are they going to do that? Like, what are they going to do next episode to tie him in to be in the future?
Honestly, I don't think they're going to do anything in this season unless they come with another season or they just plug him in like a different movie in like a certain scene or something. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Elijah isn't thrown into anything at all, and they just like left his comic book part out of everything that they're doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, because at this point, what can you do? It's too late. Like, we're about to be on the last episode, so you can't just throw a bunch of shit about Elijah in there in the last episode.
But I feel like you don't need a lot, because like I just said with Torres, them niggas gave us nothing about Torres, but we're assuming that Torres is going to be the Falcon. So maybe they give us a little hint to show us what Elijah will be for the future. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said about Torres, we don't know if we're going to see him be the Falcon actually next episode. It could be future in the MCU. It could be the same thing with Elijah Bradley. We might see a hint like in episode 6 that will transfer into like future MCU type shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the same thing with Torres, and eventually we're going to see the same thing with Elijah Bradley as well.
Possibly, but I don't know. I just feel they pick and choose from the comics on what they want to follow with. Because like I said, it's very possible that they could just not do anything with his story at all. Yeah, in the comic books, him and Torres both had big roles, but they might just leave out that one big role and just focus on making Torres Sam's sidekick going in the future, and then just leave it at that. If they do some Young Avenger type shit, like Elijah will be like way down the line. Like, it'll be some real future shit. Because the way they got these movies and shows about to roll out now, I don't see him showing up in any of these in the near future, at least over the next 2 years, at least. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, maybe Black Panther 2, like, that could be the only thing I could see him making a pop-up in or something like that.
I feel like in the next Captain America, we could see him pop up, because the Young Avengers are actually coming into age at this point. Because Cassie Lang, who was the daughter of Ant-Man, she's like, what is she, like 15 at this point now? Like, so she's starting to get to that age where she's going to become a Young Avenger, and I think they're going to end up going with her storyline as well. So all of these people, and I think Torres was even a part of the Young Avengers, wasn't he? I think Torres was even a part of the Young Avengers.
In the comics, he was a teenager. So
yeah, so they could all three be in the Young Avengers very, very soon. Actually, I think in the next, I don't think we'll see actually a Young Avengers movie, but we're seeing them come of age in pieces in these upcoming films.
Bet. And Sam goes home to find out that his sister isn't going to sell the family boat in this next scene. And he gets the neighborhood and old family friends to help fix the boat. And Bucky drops off and surprises Sam with a gift from Wakanda, which ends up being the box like we just alluded to. And he offers to help out as well. And we see Bucky is really just trying to turn over a new leaf for real this time. And he's just, it's not on some going in the book and crossing out names shit. It's like, no, he's trying to actually help people. So I thought that was cool. And
I didn't fuck with how Bucky was doing. Bucky, you ain't slick, boy. Stop trying to talk to that nigga Sarah. Or what his sister name is? Isn't it Sarah?
Sarah.
Yeah,
stop trying to him.
No, man, I don't want to see all that.
She was definitely trying to talk to him.
You trying to talk to your homie sister? Stop.
She was trying to talk to him.
That always goes terrible. Trust me. That goes terrible.
She was trying to talk to him. I'm not mad at Bucky at this.
The flirtatious looks. I see what you're doing, Bucky.
And then, did you pull anything from that scene at all, or just family vibes? That's all I got.
Yeah, just family vibes. What scene was it? Who told? Oh no, it was a scene later when Sam ended up telling Bucky that you had to find one person to actually make amends with and not actually try to, you know what I'm saying, avenge them, actually make amends with them. I think he's going to end up going back to see the old dude from the beginning, actually admitting to him that he was the one who killed his son. I think that's how he's going to make amends for his killing. And I think that's what Sam was alluding to, and that's what Bucky is going to figure out in his mind. I think we're going to see that next episode.
I forgot about him too. I'm glad you brought him up.
I don't even know his name. Like, I forgot his name, but yeah, I think that's what Sam was alluding to when he said you have to make amends.
We ain't seen him since like what, episode 2, damn near. Like,
was it even episode 2? Episode 1, episode 2. Yeah,
it was about episode 2. I get him that. So I'm glad you brought him back up. I definitely forgot about him. And we go to the next scene where John, you on that dumb shit again.
I swear, bro. I swear you was.
John Walker goes to Lamar's family to apologize for his death, but while doing so, he lies to them about getting justice with the true killer. So he lies to them and says the person that he has seen on video killing was the person who actually killed Lamar. And I'm like, bro, why are you lying to them? Just say, like, tell them what happened. They're not going to be mad. Like, because if you tell them that you're still going to try and go out there and catch who did it, that's what matters the most. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to lie and say, yeah, I definitely killed the person who killed y'all's son. He pissed me off with that shit.
Just lying for no reason to a black folk. I think they really just wanted justice. They wanted closure. So that's why he ended up lying to them. But it's just like, man, you ain't got to do all that, bro.
You don't, bro.
We know the truth, my nigga. But I think they would have started asking questions like, why you killed this dude if he wasn't the person that killed our son? Like, why you killed this dude? You know what I'm saying? They would start asking questions like that. Now, he didn't want to answer those type of questions because it was basically out of pure rage. So he didn't want to answer those questions. So that's why he just ended up lying and saying that was the dude.
And I told you, bro, we had this conversation last episode. I told you it wasn't going to be a half-half situation where half people agreeing with what he doing and half people not agreeing. I told you majority of the people was not going to agree with the shit he was doing.
We didn't see that many people. We just seen the government was mad at him.
The whole government was mad at him.
But I'm talking about the people. Like, the government don't like the Flagsmashers, but the people love the Flagsmashers. So that's what I was saying. It could be the same thing with John Walker. We don't know the people's opinion on what he did with how he killed old boy. We never got the people's opinion. The government gonna hate him, yeah, because the image looks bad on the government. But we didn't get the people's opinion on that. I don't feel like.
I don't know, man. I feel like I still feel like majority of people don't agree with that shit. Cause like you said, why didn't he just tell Lamar family? Yeah, they want justice, but like you said, they would have started questioning him like, well, why did you kill this person? Like, why did you put your frustration out on them and stuff? Then we would have got the scope of what some people thought. It's like, no, you did the wrong thing. Yes, we want to catch the person who killed our son, but we don't want to just kill people who didn't have anything to do with it happening. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
He was a part of it.
He was a part of it. He was a part of it, but John literally seen Carly
for sure.
kill him, and he know dude was way across on the other side of the room and literally had no part in that shit. So I'm like, come on, bro. Like, you tripping, bro. That I get it. Lamar ain't have no reason to die, but that don't mean you kill another person that ain't had no reason to die. Bitch ass John. On to the next scene. Sharon makes a call to Baytrock and offers him money for a mission. And we're getting more of a scope into what Sharon is actually doing now. And I feel like it's safe to say she's either working with the power broker or she's just working with evil forces at this point, regardless of if it's the power broker or not, because we still have yet to see Sam fulfill his promise to Sharon on getting her back over to the States. And I feel like he's forgotten about that again with everything going on, because remember, he did tell her, I'm going to fix your situation and I'm going to make it able for you to come back to the States so where you won't be banned and won't get arrested. He forgot to do that shit again. So I'm like, yeah, Sharon going in her villain bag now.
I don't think he forgot. I said it when she said that. I was like, he has to become Captain America first. Then he's going to request that they drop all the bullshit about Sharon so she can be let back in. So we haven't gotten to him becoming Captain America yet, so he can get her back in. I don't think he's forgotten. He just has to go through some things so he can get to a point where he can be like, y'all have to pardon everything that she's done and let her back into the US. So I don't think we've gotten to that part yet. And I think she was on this track before, even before Sam was in the picture. I think she was on this type of track to just cause chaos and whatever the hell she's doing.
I think she was on the track too, but I don't know. Maybe her timeline moving a little different. Maybe she wants Sam to act quicker than what he's acting. Because I do agree with you. Like, maybe he is waiting until he has enough leverage to ask that type of favor. But in her mind, she's like, no, like, you need to do this shit as soon as possible. Because I've been over here for years now. So I'm definitely ready to do this shit without having to wait some more. So I don't know. Maybe her timeline moving a little quicker. We shall see. But don't be surprised if Sharon just full blown helping villains at this point, because her country turned her back on her. And then we get to the next scene where Sam and Bucky are practicing with the shield, and Bucky apologizes on behalf of him and Steve for not understanding what troubles a black person wielding that shield would bring. And I'm glad that they touched on that, because a lot of fans have always talked about the ignorance Captain America probably had back in the day during the 40s or 30s or 40s when slavery was still going on to a certain extent. And then you got Jim Crow and you just got plain old racism everywhere. But you got this Captain America guy, quote unquote, saving the day everywhere. So there was this ignorance to Captain America that people were always talking about on social media. So I'm glad Bucky addressed that and said, we are sorry because we didn't know like the troubles you all face on a daily would impact you even as a superhero to this extent. So I'm glad Bucky apologized for that.
Definitely agree.
And then Sam offers Bucky some life-changing advice, and they both have some closure with each other and agree to work with each other more in the future as actual co-workers, I guess. So that shit was cool. That shit was cool as fuck. I was like, okay, cool. See, closure, patching up. You know, it's cool to be friends. You can be friends.
And I wonder how they gonna do that. I wonder if it's gonna be a trio, because I'm assuming Torres is gonna be with the Black Cap or the new Sam now. So it's gonna be like a trio with Bucky and Torres and Captain America now. Is that gonna be like the trio, or is Torres just gonna eventually branch off into the Young Avengers shit sooner than expected, and it's just gonna be Bucky and Sam? I don't know. That's something to look forward to.
I'm wondering if they're gonna change Bucky's name though, like superhero alias or whatever. Because are they just gonna continue to call him the Winter Soldier? Oh yeah, White Wolf. White Wolf. That is right. I don't know. Is he gonna ride with the White Wolf thing though? Like I thought that was just gonna be like a Wakandan thing. I didn't know if it was.
I don't know.
I ain't see it translating over to Americans and Americans just calling him the White Wolf. Like I can't. I gotta see that to believe that.
I don't know.
And we also get is this where we get the training montage? Or did that happen yet?
Yeah.
Nah. Did that happen at that time?
This was after he talked to Bucky. He went to a training montage.
Yeah, training. That was honestly my favorite scene of this entire show. That was my favorite moment. Actually seeing him practice with the shield, learn how to actually catch the shield and do a bunch of like tricks and shit with it. I'm like, okay, so he ain't finna just be no normal soldier out here with it. He finna know how to do some shit. He just ain't gonna have he ain't gonna have a super soldier serum in him. But I think that's going to make him an even better cat. Obviously, nobody's gonna live up to Steve Rogers, but I feel like that'll make him the best Captain America of this new age, because he's going to be able to prove that you don't have to be a super soldier to be Captain America. And I feel like that's going to definitely shake ground with a lot of people.
It's definitely going to prove that nigga John Walker wrong. This nigga thought that he needed the super soldier serum. You don't need that. You don't need it.
And we go to the next scene where Sam and Sarah agree to not sail the boat. They finally get on the same page of preserving their family's history. And he decides to stand up and take the mantle regardless of what Isaiah Bradley says. And the shield, and we get the shield training montage, and something that he said, like I spoke of earlier, he was basically saying somebody has to stand up and be willing to take the fight. You know, he said, I know I'm not going to win every fight. I know I'm not going to win every racial thing that happens, but we have to be willing to fight something, you know. And Isaiah Bradley kind of had that mindset of, I ain't finna fight that shit. It is what it is. It's going to always be what it's always been for the last 500 years. But Sam was like, no, like, look, and Sam told Isaiah Bradley, he was like, I know people now. Like, I have connections. There's things I can do as a black man, as a regular black man, and as a superhero that can change things. So I love the fact that Sam had that mindset.
That's true.
And then we get to the next scene where Baytrot links up with Carly, and she gathers all her recruits, and we finally see
they was deep in the park. They was deep in the park, my nigga. I'm like, damn. This the first time she actually did this shit in America. So I was surprised that she had so many people on the first link up. I'm like, damn. Yeah. And it's funny how she had like that excuse me. But it's funny how she had like that little pinger. So it's like everybody got a notification to like come to the park or whatever. I'll fuck with that. So it's like everybody who wants to be a part of the Flagsmashers could be involved in this revolution and in this fight. Cause them niggas was deep. Boy, them niggas was deep.
But I don't know how she's able to do that without being tracked, really, though.
I don't know.
Because who on their team is like the tech person to make sure their devices aren't getting tracked, that she's on a like black website to where she not black a dark website to where she can do that type of shit without being traced at all. Because all the government can do is like locate the pings. That's all they can do. They can't tell which phone it is. They can't tell which people are getting it and stuff like that. So I'm like, how is she doing that? That's the only thing I'm questioning.
I mean, I think Torres said it in the first episode that weren't they from the dark web anyway? Like the Flagsmashers revolution started on the dark web, so that's probably how she's still being under the radar. I truly don't have a clear answer for it though.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the methods on what they're doing to gather people up. Because I'm like, you finna get tracked eventually.
Yeah.
And we noticed that Baytrock is only involved to kill Sam, like we said a few minutes ago. And Carly's main partner with the Flagsmashers, and he's kind of looking at Carly like, wait, like we're working with criminals now? Like I know what we're doing is kind of criminalish, but we have like a positive motive behind what we're doing. And now you're saying bump all the rules, like we're just gonna do this shit by any means necessary, and even if that means working with killer type villains and shit. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some inside deterioration with the Flagsmashers. Like, are people gonna start breaking off from Carly because they're seeing the method she's using? Like, or is everybody just gonna get on the same page still? I'm interested to see how large her group is still gonna be once they all notice the methods that she's taking.
I think he will still ride with her because he's seen her do questionable shit before and is still on her side. Like he was there when she blew up the building and he's still rocking with her to this day. I think they're still going to ride with it, but they're still having questions at the same time. But it's just like, damn, we have to trust Carly. Carly got us this far. Like she's the leader of this revolution. So you have to stick with whatever she's talking about. So that's what he going to end up doing. Going to fuck him up and get him killed though.
Yeah, that's true, because they did stick with her when she blew up the hospital or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, you stick with somebody through that, you'll ride through anything. You'll ride through anything damn near. And we get into the final moments of the episode, and the news is breaking out about the GRC and how they're about to have their vote on whether or not to move people back to their original countries. And Torres is telling Sam the Flagsmashers are planning to attack New York and they're planning to invade the GRC voting session, which they end up doing. And as Sam is watching this happen, he opens the box finally that Bucky gifted him, and vibranium Falcon suit. Will it even be the original Stars and Stripes that we're used to? Are they going to play a little bit different than the comics and like actually make it some real black man type shit? Or is it going to be the Stars and Stripes? I really hope they get a little colorful with this and make it like something completely different than the regular Captain America Stars and Stripes. Because I honestly would love that.
I think it's going to be red, white, and blue. But what I would like, instead of a star in the middle, like the star for the Stars and Stripes, I would fuck with if they had like a falcon or some type of bird like in the middle of this shit. So you know that nigga ain't no regular Captain America and he's like autonomous, because birds are known for being like free individual. It's not like stuck down to anything. I would fuck with them if they had like a falcon or some shit like in the middle. I would fuck with that. But I think it's still going to be like red, white, and blue though.
Yeah, because if he keeps the shield with him at all times, that'll be red, white, and blue. So, okay, that makes sense. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I feel like they should just redecorate the shield, just have it match a new outfit. He can still be Captain America.
I would fuck with it if it was all black. All black.
Yeah,
white.
That's what
white.
I'm saying. All black. That shit'll go so hard, bro. Oh my god. And he has like the nanotech vibranium wings that like you can't pull apart because it's nano. Like, come on, that shit gonna be hard, bro. Oh my god, that shit gonna be so hard.
Yeah.
And then you had anything else from that scene?
Nah, that was it.
And we get to the post-credit scene. Like I said earlier, John Walker is making his anti-cap suit and shield in his garage, and this shit, I just have no faith in this new shield at all. Maybe it's just gonna be a symbol. Maybe it's not gonna be his actual weapon.
It is.
It's just gonna be his symbol, like, bitch, I'm still Captain America. So
yeah. I think it's gonna be the same thing, bro. Cause he ain't gonna do shit with that shield. Niggas is breaking that one punch. Niggas is breaking that weak ass shield, bro. But it was a symbol, like you had said before. Like anybody can be Captain America, bro. So I agree what you were saying with the Batman theory and shit like that. I definitely agree. But yeah, damn. Do I think what happens with John Walker next episode? Like, does he fight them and like he loses and then he just ends up working with old girl? Like, I wonder, like, how they gonna play with him next episode.
I'm predicting the girl gonna call him because she told him the first best thing in your life that you will ever do is answer the call when I call you. So she's going to call him next episode. He's going to answer, and I feel like he will be introduced to the power broker. And he already has a super soldier serum, but they might look at his ghetto ass shield and laugh at his ass and be like, "Come here, I'm gonna give you some better shit." And it might actually get him. I feel like the power broker will she'll introduce John Walker to the power broker, and he'll actually get a good ass shield or some type of Captain America shit.
Mm-hmm. That would work. I would like that. Yeah, I'll roll with that.
And
so you think she's an employee of the power broker then?
That's what I'm gonna go with. I feel like she's an employee of the power broker. Like you said, the Hydra ties just aren't really there still. At least on surface level from what we've seen, they don't give me Hydra vibes, so I don't see anything with Hydra. So I'm going all in on the power broker at this point.
Yeah, we need to see him next episode, bro. And I don't want to see no sneak peek. I want to see some shit like you said. So at least the introduction between John Walker, or we see Valentina run up with the power broker, something, or Sharon call, bro. We don't wait 6 episodes for the power broker, my nigga. I need to see him next episode, my nigga. Trust me, I need to see that. But what else are you predicting for next episode?
We'll get a full look at the new suit. Does Carly die?
Yes, I predict she does.
I'm predicting that Carly will die at the end of episode 6. By the end of the episode, she's dead.
Yeah, she will die. I like the power broker theory. I like the power broker and John Walker theory. Damn, it's funny how he was supposed to meet the power broker earlier in the season, but he gonna end up meeting him at the end. I fuck with it. What's gonna happen with Sam and Bucky though? I think by the end of this episode, Bucky will end up going back. No, he's not going back to Wakanda because he said he had to stay away from Wakanda. The Dora Milaje had told him that. So damn, where does Bucky go? Damn.
They said for the time being, at least for a little while, you just can't come back for a little while because everybody knows that you broke him out of prison and shit like that. So you got to wait till that shit die down before you just come back.
By the end of the episode, he'll go see the old man from episode 1 or 2 and then actually, you know what I'm saying, confess that he killed his son and they're going to have a moment together. Obviously, the old dude going to be mad at him, but he going to feel at peace after he does that. And like we're going to see the evolution of Sam and turning into Black Cap.
Oh, I'm also predicting Isaiah Bradley will come out of hiding. I'm going to predict that. He will come out of hiding and everybody will find out that there was an actual Black Captain America back in the day. I feel like he'll put his old bitterness to the side and listen to Sam and actually show the world that he did exist. But
then he said if he did that, he would get killed. He said that.
I feel like he's willing to risk that. Cause I feel like we're gonna have a scene where he sees Sam on the news and like his new and improved Captain America look and stuff, and he's probably gonna see Sam like winning the fight and all that shit and being embraced by America, and he might want to come out and like just say like he's proud of him or some shit like that. I feel like we'll have a non-bitter moment from Isaiah Bradley.
All right, bro. Do you have anything else?
Nah, that's it.
All right, bro. You can hit him with the social media.
You can follow us on Twitter at QE Podcast 1. You can follow us on Instagram at QANDE Podcast. You can follow and like our Facebook page. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the notification bell so you can see anytime that we drop new episodes. And our email is QANDEpodcast@gmail.com for any business inquiries, questions, or concerns.
Yes, and subscribe to all of our podcast platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. But wherever you listen to podcasts, we're most likely there, so definitely subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube Q&E Podcast, and subscribe to my YouTube as well. Just type in Quincy Hicks into the search bar and definitely press that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys for listening, and we out. Peace.